Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. And I promise it's not all negative. 3 months of COVID shutdown has taught me some interesting things about filtration systems. Not just the ones I build, but commercial ones as well, and how they can handle neglect. And that's pretty much what it is. Some of these tanks I've not seen at all in 3 months, and a few of them I've seen sporadically. So as we go through them, I'm going to explain, those sorts of details. You can judge for yourself how they fared. Unfortunately, this footage here is from about 3 years ago when I first started up the channel, and it's kind of been the mascot for my intro, and it did not make it. Unfortunately, marine systems are probably the least well suited for 3 months of neglect. 3 months of not being seen to, 3 months of no water changes, chemistry adjustments, and all that sort of stuff. They do not fare well in that sort of thing. And unfortunately, when something like this starts to go, it releases a lot of toxins. There's a lot of meat on these, and when it starts to rot, it takes the whole tank with it. You end up with a cascade failure, really, and in this particular case, it did kill most of the tank. This tank here I was coming in a little bit for, and I did notice that it was, dead, but I got it before it had gotten to the point where it was stinking up the whole house, fortunately, and I pulled it out and removed it from the system. But unfortunately at that point, most of the corals were already dying or dead, and there was nothing really I could do to save it. I put as much effort as I could in with the current situation, but it was too late. I managed to save most of the fish, which is nice, but this is unfortunately the way of things. The freshwater systems fared much better. And actually I do have a saltwater system that I think I'm going to be able to recover quite nicely. That's going to be at the end, and I'm going to explain why that one I think did better than the others. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to go through a bunch of the freshwater systems, and I'm going to give you an explanation of the types of filters on them and why I think they're doing quite well. First up is this. This is a 6-foot African cichlid tank. This one, in fairness, I did go in, add water, and clean the front glass. I've really pretty much done nothing else because initially they were kind of hesitant about me being there at all, so I was keeping my visits really, really short and just doing necessaries. And I haven't cleaned the filter, and as you can see, this was run by box filters. One of them's currently not on there. It's just bubbling air, but you can see that the tank's actually doing quite well. This is also a box filter one. I didn't see any of this tank. This one was shut down for pretty much a solid time, and this is what it was like when I first got there. They added a bit of water, and since then, of course, I've gotten it cleaned up a bit more, and of course, as this progresses, I will show you more footage of how they fared. This tank is probably one of the nicest looking ones. This is run by a trickle filter. Now, again, in fairness, I have seen this tank a few times, mostly to top up the water and explain to the client that they need to actually add water to this because once or twice when I came, the filter had run dry, and there's a severe chance of burning out the pump that way, and they needed to add water. This is, like I said, about 3 months in, and you can see the plants are overgrown. But most of the fish survived. As far as the freshwater fish go, I think I had about 70 to 80% survival, which is pretty good. Saltwater, actually, I think they all survived, but the corals did not. This is a 90-gallon tank. This one I also got to see a couple times, mostly just to top up water, but I think I've cleaned the glass on this once. As you can see, most of the plants have been chewed back because the fish were hungry. This one's run by a leak-proof canister filter, and this was also the tank that had the above-tank filtration system, the air-driven one. You can see the two pumps over there, two lift stacks over there, and that one, the above tank is a no-go really for these sorts of situations. It just doesn't work when the water runs really low. But obviously the leak-proof canister filter kept this reasonably healthy. This poor tank, there are fish in here, believe it or not. But it used to be really lush and green, but it's been in the dark for 3 months, and it's just it needs an overhaul. This one, unfortunately, is in the opposite situation. It's in a hallway that is, well, it's bathed in sunlight. There's windows all around it, and as you can see, it is disgusting. And those are both run by Aquaclears. This one here was also in the dark for, well, 3 months, and most of the fish survived, mostly because someone was coming in to feed them, and this is also run by a box filter, but it was in the dark, so there wasn't really much of a chance for algae to grow or anything. But you can see a little bit of odd moss growing on the plastic plants there. This is just a small one in a daycare, and, well, they don't have any money. But anyway, I will show you all these as time progresses and they improve again. These are 2 more Aquaclear tanks, the next 2, and again, they were receiving no attention. You can see how hungry the fish are. They have sunken bellies and everything. Again, I will show you as they, as things improve. I think I lost probably the most fish in this tank here. As you can see, there's only about 2 or 3 or 4 left here. And also the cryptocorenes, even though they're low light loving, they were in the dark, so they're quite chlorotic now, so hopefully this will all bounce back. And the next tank is, this is actually a tank that I saw regularly, but again, it was in a situation where they didn't really want me in there too much because, well, they're all worried about COVID and whatnot. So, and also at this point I couldn't really film it properly because they have people in. You can see someone on the other side here, and I really couldn't, film it with people, there. Can't have people in the footage. But this tank did okay. I would go in about a little over, once every week or so, probably, let's say about 3 times a month, and make sure that I fed them. So some of them look kind of starving, but for the most part, everything survived in this tank. This is another interesting. This is another canister filter tank. And as you can see, the fish are doing well. I think there's fewer fish, but the plants just took over. It was actually kind of cool to see. I'm glad to see this one did well. Again, it's fine. This is one of the few sponge filter tanks I have, and the sponge filter was a bit blocked up, as you can see. The plants are okay. They would go down and feed periodically and turn the light on every now and then, but as you can see, the plants aren't getting anywhere near enough light. So this is the only thing that happens with air filtration systems. You need to unplug the little bit at the end. Sometimes you get calcium buildup, and you have to clean that out, and that's the only thing I had to do here. We're getting near the end of this now, and I just want to say that I'm going to show you some of these tanks after I manage to get them back into proper operation, so that's going to come up later. The only reason why you're seeing this footage now is we've had a power failure and I just didn't have time to do anything else. And what I'm going to end up here with for you is this marine tank is probably the one that's going to survive. This is the one that's doing the best. And I'd like to say it's because it is being run by the dual leak-proof canister filters. This is the one I did the footage for many, many years ago. And as you can see, there's tons of coralline algae. The coral's still doing okay. And I did manage to get in to see this tank a few times. Probably in the 3 months, I probably saw it about 3 or 4 times. But it's also, I put on this. This is the second version of the algae scrubber, and it is disgustingly dirty now because it didn't get any maintenance. This is what it looks like. Most of the Caulerpa, Chaeto, I think I put in this one, is obviously just goo now, but it did okay, and it did keep the tank alive, so that's actually kind of cool. So the last thing I'm going to show you is one other unfortunate casualty, and that is the little desktop tank I put together. it actually worked quite fine. It was still running and everything. But unfortunately, the teeny little fish that were in here could not go 3 months without food, and they passed on. And that kind of saddened the lady who I put this on her desk for. She works in one of the daycares, and she just didn't want it in here anymore just because it made her sad. So I'm gonna take it out for now, and I'll put the plants in something, and then maybe in the future she'll want it back. We'll see. So anyway, this is not the usual kind of video, but if you like it, let me know. Leave comments, like and subscribe as you choose, and I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.